Sales Company from Bemis Crafty Corner, and today we're going to be working on a project using the champagne corks that I had. I told you guys we were going to be working on a project, and what we're going to be making are keychains, right? Cute little gift idea. They're just little tassels, and if you do not want to use this as a keychain, the one I make with you today, I'm going to show you how to make it into just a book dangle, okay? So, without further ado, I am going to go ahead and get out all of the supplies. You have a good list of supplies, and I'm going to start showing you how to put one of these together. I'll be right back. All right, so let's take a look at some of the things we're going to be needing for this project. So, the first thing we're going to be using is some screw-in eye pins, some chain, some jump rings, a couple of different sizes. We're going to be using some charms, a head pin, a wing charm. There's going to be a little clip involved in here, a couple of beads, pretty basic hardware. We're going to use some bling, some thread or baker's twine or bookbinding string, whatever you have. And we're going to be using some assorted laces and ribbons, some Gorilla Glue, a ruler, a pencil, a toolkit, and of course, we're going to be using a champagne cork. Now, the reason I chose the champagne cork is because it's actually thicker, it's larger, but it's real cork. Some of the corks we get today are synthetics and they come apart very easily. So by using a champagne cork, it's a little bit more sturdy. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of clear everything out of the way, and we're going to get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the charm pieces together and get the hardware onto the cork. I'll be right back with that, and we'll get started. Okay, so for the first part of this, you're going to want to find the center, and that's where your ruler is going to come in handy. Most champagne corks are about 1 inch across, so if you just kind of find that 1/2 inch spot going in both directions, you'll find where your center is. You can mark this with a pencil if you want to. For me, it's going to be kind of in between these windows. So I'm just going to put a mark there, and then I'm going to get out one of my threaded eye hooks and a little bit of my Gorilla Glue. And I'm just going to kind of dip my eye hook in there. I mean, I want glue on it, but I don't want a huge amount of glue. And then I'm going to be using pressure on both sides, both the screw and the cork. And I'm just going to thread this in by hand. It should go pretty easy once you get it started. And I'm just going to put this on until I can't turn it anymore, because it's going to get to a point where the head is wider, and so it's going to kind of grind in there. And it will stop. There we go. So I've got that one in. I'm going to put one in the bottom as well, and then using the exact same procedure, and then I'll be right back to show you how we're going to put together the angel charm and how we're going to put chains on all of this and get it all hooked up. So I'm going to be using 4 different pliers today. A round nose pair of pliers, a flat nose pair of pliers. I'm going to be using a wire cutter, and I am going to be using my loop plier. If you don't have these two, that's okay. You can do it with just these 2 pliers, all right? So the first thing I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be assembling my charms. So let me get the pliers out of the way. And we're going to start with a flathead pin. Now, this is the one that just has the little flat head at the bottom. It looks like a pin without a point, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is create the body. And the way to create the body is simply to thread on our body piece, and then the wings. And you can decide whether you want your wings going up or down. That's entirely up to you. And then I'm going to use a small crystal to make a head. Okay? And then I am going to be using my loop pliers. And for this, all I'm going to do is thread this through. There's a little hole in the back here. I'm just going to thread it through. And I'm just going to kind of bend it a little bit towards me. And then I'm just going to go ahead and crimp my pliers. That cuts it for me and makes my loop, and what it does is it offsets the loop, okay? And by offset, I mean that it takes the 2 ends and puts them like this, side by side. Okay, that makes it easy for me to just push them together. Whenever you open a jump ring, you move it this way. Front or back, never this way. okay? Always forward back like this. All right? Now, I have completed my angel, and I have a charm that I choose to use. So I will be using a jump ring, and for this I'm just going to use my flat needle nose pliers, because this jump ring's pretty easy for me to open. If I needed to use the other pliers, I would, if it was a thicker wire, but this isn't too bad. And then once I have it open, I'm just going to thread it onto my charm, and I'm going to leave that ring open. Now, I'm going to get about 3.5, 4 inches of chain, and I'm just going to cut the chain. And I prefer to use these wire nippers because they just work better, but if you don't have any, most of your needle nose pliers has a pair of nippers, wire nippers, built into it, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to place this charm on the end. Either end, doesn't matter. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and pinch that shut. And make sure that I've got those set right at each other. I can hear it snap when it gets together. And then I'm going to put my angel on the other end, using the offset loop that I created with my pliers. Okay, and then I'm just going to take that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist it back towards the wire. I'm not pushing it in or anything, I'm just twisting it back, and it should meet up with my wire there on the inside, and that'll keep my chain from coming off, okay? And that is how you properly make a loop on a straight pin. So now I have my 2 pieces. I'm going to take one more jump ring, and I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to decide how I want this to hang. Do I want them even? Do I want one higher than the other? And then I'm going to go ahead and just put my jump ring through the loop there, and I'm going to set this in my tray. This I'm going to be using later. The last piece of hardware I'm going to be using today is going to be a jump ring, 2 jump rings, and my little clasp that I'm going to be using to attach this as a dangle. And so I'm going to cut about 1 inch of chain. Doesn't have to be a big piece on this one. Just about 1 inch. And again, I'm just going to open my jump ring, and I am going to attach a jump ring to both ends of my little piece of chain. Helps if you get the pliers out of the way else. I'm going to add, on one side I'm going to add my little clip, my little toggle piece that I'll be using to clip this onto my journal. And then just another jump ring on the other side, which I can wait to put on until later because that is going to be what is connecting this to my cork. So I can wait to put that on until later. So I'm going to get rid of the hardware and clear this up. I'll be right back. We're going to go start making the tassel, okay? All right, so very simple to make the tassel. I'm going to cut 3 pieces of each of the 2 colors I selected. 1 foot lengths. And then I'm just going to kind of grab up all the ends, and I'm going to feed them through a jump ring. I know, so technical, right? So we're going to feed these through a jump ring. Now, if for whatever reason you can't get them all through there in one shot, that's okay. Just, you know, take whatever's left and feed it through a second time. This is a very small jump ring, but it'll take all 6 pieces of this ribbon, so I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to slowly kind of feed them through. number 6. And then I'm going to hold the ends and just kind of move the jump ring to the center. Get an idea that I'm at my center. If I'm not, adjust. And once I have it at the center, or reasonably thereabouts, I can take a piece of my baker's twine or some bookbinding cord, whatever it is I have, and just wrap that around and pull it nice and tight. And I'm going to wrap it 3-4 times around there. And then I'm just going to tie a simple knot, just a simple square knot, my right one over my left one over my right one, or left over right, right over left, however you want to do it. And then I like to use my pliers. Just kind of make sure that I got that nice and snug. And then just snip those off. Snip. Snip. Check my ends. You know, if anything's like too bizarrely long, give it a haircut. And then I'm going to put a second jump ring on this. Very simple. Again, I'm not pulling it apart. I'm twisting it from side to side. And I'm going to put that on the bottom. And before I close this, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to attach this piece as well. So I can either put it on this jump ring or add it to the actual eye. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and close this one. Just by pushing the two ends back together. And you'll kind of hear them snap when they hit. That's perfect. Okay? So then we're going to take our chain and our second jump ring. I'm going to put that through the eye as well. And again, I'm just going to twist them this way towards each other till I hear that snap. And now I have my tassel and my charm on. And the next part we're going to be doing is we're going to be attaching this piece, again, very simple, with a jump ring. We're going to find where it's divided, open it up, attach the jump ring to the end of the chain. Attach it onto the eye on the cork, and then we're just going to close up the jump ring. Ooh, that was a loud clicky. So now I have it set up to be a book dangle because I have my little clip at the top, my little lobster clip. And the next thing we're going to be doing is decorating the cork itself. So I'm going to clear all this off and I'll be right back. Alright, so to decorate this one, I have chosen some silver flat pieces and this kind of faux leather ribbon. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of test this out on here. See where I like it. Do I like it at the top? Do I like it at the bottom? Kind of like it at the bottom. So I'm just going to cut a piece off here that fits. And let's see how far we've overlapped. Not too bad. Cut this piece off. And I do want some overlap. So then I'm just going to take some of my clear glue. Well, that's a Mickey mess. Alright, I'm going to put some glue on this. Now you could use some E6000 for this. You can use your Gorilla Glue. You can use Fabri-Tac. Whatever glue works best for you. Keeping in mind that cork is a porous surface, okay? And then we're just going to put that around, and we're going to let it dry. You could also use your hot glue gun here. That works really well. And then the other thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding some of these little gems here, these little flats. And I'm just going to be putting these around the top here. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't trust the adhesive on these things, you know, when it's on paper. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting a little bit of my glue on the back here. Now, if you had some small head thumbtacks, they would work perfectly for this. So I'm just going to go around and put these on here, and then I'm going to let the whole thing dry, and I will be back to show you what this looks like when it's completed, okay? Alright, so here it is finished, and we have, you know, our little studs going around the top and our piece of faux silver leather here. We've got our little charm that's hanging on there, and the tassel, of course, and on the top we added a lobster claw to this, so this can be hung on a side of a journal as a book dangle if you want, or if you prefer, you can always add the keychain piece to the top, and you can make a beautiful little keychain out of this that would make a great gift for you know, like the teacher or friend or the neighbor or something like that. Couple of good advantages here. One, this will not sink. Hey. Two, you can customize this, you know, any way that you want. You can make this match a pocketbook or whatever, and it's kind of hard to lose it because it's a big, big keychain. So that is my project out of champagne corks. Guys, if you have any question, don't hesitate to contact me. If you haven't done so already, hit the red button for me, like me, ring my bell, and share me with all of your friends. And then your friends can be my friends, and my friends can be your friends, and our friends can get to be friends. And that's how we build a community. Until I see you again, do me a favor, stay safe. Bye-bye.